Geezers, what's going on? Specimen here. We are about to look at the best decks from the top 16 qualifiers. These are the players that finished the top 16 on the ladder last season, who were battling it out for a place at Gwent Open. The two people that qualified are Kaneki Yamori and Cam. So let's start off with looking at Kaneki Yamori's list, because he went undefeated, or they went undefeated, I don't actually know if it's he. And they played Deadeye Ambush. They played Force of Nature with the Mana's Dark Secret. I'm going to be playing this deck on stream. I'm also going to be posting a video for it, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that. We've got some raw inspiration, and we've got lined pockets. Let's start off with Deadeye Ambush. Deadeye Ambush has been a very, very popular deck this season, with a lot of the changes to the bandits and the elves. A lot of these elves are now bandits, including the Elven Deadeyes. What that means is free company here, a card which has never seen any play, is now basically like a second Ailerin. It boosts all your bandits by one. Not a second Ailerin, like a second Isengrim, right? This is boosting your elves. Free company is boosting all your bandits. This card is absolutely popping off. Of course, Ren-free decks are out of the meta a little bit, and elves have been very, very popular. Always have been a good tournament deck as well, because they're very dangerous coming from red coin, and these days they're also not even that bad from blue coin either. Obviously you've got your Alyssa stuff as well. We won't talk too much about this. Like, you've got Maxian and Archer at 5 provisions using the Vial of Forbidden Knowledge. Yeah, nothing really that interesting with this one, free company being the main addition. Let's move on to the deck I'm most excited about, which is Force of Bloody Nature. Are you dizzy, fam? And this deck is actually looking quite similar to the cat decks that I've been playing in previous seasons, with the previous season with Caranthir for Koshji. The key difference is you're not looking to replay the cat a bunch of times with Sabbath. That did get a lot worse, but we are playing the Scenario and Force of Nature, which is obviously going to help trigger the Thrive. So I'm really excited by this deck. Obviously, Caranthir on Koshji can be fantastic. My man's got the Fisher King. I'm trying to peel my Fisher King off the wall here. One of my favorite cards of all time. Of course, Fisher King, being able to put that Koshji into your hand, meaning that you can actually use your Caranthir on it. So Scratch-A-Lot is just a really fantastic card, because if it sticks and your opponent cannot answer it, they are also going to be triggering all of your Thrives, and you're also just going to be able to trigger your Koshji Thrives. And you can have 2 Koshjis on the board at the same time. Also, a couple of Lavas in here. No Neckers, which I'm a little bit surprised by, to be honest. The 4 provision Necker usually very, very popular. Does have like Necker Warriors and Kikimo Workers, which are going to be pulled off the final chapter of the Mana's Dark Secret. Play the highest power bronze monster unit from your deck. Obviously, that's going to be the Kikimo Worker or the Necker Warrior, which is then going to be triggering the Thrive. There's a Purifier lock, Old Spear Tip asleep into Old Spear Tip plus Ozeril combo. Ozeril then 19 points on this Old Spear Tip if it goes through. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense to be playing this, because Muzzle was really cucking this combo a lot a few seasons ago. But let's be honest, there's not exactly many Muzzles doing the rounds anymore. Couple of Man Traps, couple of Drowners, a single Cursed Damsel, as well as a Squirrel and a Witch Apprentice bus. Maxi. This looks like a really nice list. I'm definitely going to check it out. Of course, the Heatwave and Anira in that as well. Make sure you're subscribed again for that one. Royal Inspiration up next. It is the Knights, and this looks like a pretty standard list, I would say. I have posted a few videos on Knights recently, and I actually, in the description, posted something very, very similar. Lady of the Lake instead of John the TARDIS, because it can tutor your Assault and it can tutor your Aneromancy. Erendite being really popular in this deck because you can get ahead very, very quickly. Couple of Centurion Knights is not typical, to be honest. Usually you just play one of these as an option off of Amphibious Assault, but going for 2, which is a little bit surprising, because there's not really that many ways to line these cards up and actually get the death blow. So I'm a little bit surprised to see that there's that, but I suppose if you can get it to Grey 6 anyway, it's playing for a lot of points. You know, it's just pretty solid. It's, what, 7 points if you can get it to Grey 6, and it's a Knight, so it's got synergy with like Squire and things like that. So very nice looking Royal Inspiration deck. Single Peller, single Squirrel, couple of Mad Charges, and finally Line Pockets, probably the best deck in the game, I would say. Wow, a single Townsfolk in there is very, very interesting. A Volta Veritas as well. Mate, you can put any cards you want in this deck and it just pops off, because this card Failed Experiment, in my opinion, needs to go, blood. I hate this card. It's my least favorite card in the whole game. I think it's very, very, very toxic. Of course it should be, because it's a poison card. But being able to move the poison from itself to one of your opponent's cards means that it's very difficult, almost impossible to play around. It's not like you can answer the poison with a pass or answer the poison with a Purify. They just always have more poisons. And I hate it. I hate it. Eventide Plunder can also find the Failed Experiment, running a couple of those. A couple of Fist Techs. We've got Shady Vendor, which can be more poisons. Stolen Mutagens, of course, you can poison your own Failed Experiment with. Townsfolk as a one-off card, I guess it can just pop off. A little bit random, to be honest. A lot of the time you'll see Townsfolk in like these Bincy decks and such, but I don't know. Hopefully it worked out. Geller, which is, of course, one of the main ways of poisoning. You've got the Tunnel Drill, the Blenheim brothers, just great combo. Of course, with Azar as well and Conjurer's Candle, like all these engines are just sticking so well with the Tunnel Drill, the Geller, the Failed Experiments. And then, of course, let's not forget that you've got the Golden Necker, which can play Hideout, it can play Candle, two fantastic artifacts. And then you can just be protecting everything behind your defender. It is pretty filthy, like the Conjurer's Candle is quite phenomenal. Knickers and Roach finding their way in. Royal Decree and a Bank. Looks like just a solid bloody list. All right, let's take a look at some of the other decks. We'll look at Cams next because Cams did qualify as well this weekend. I have not actually looked at these, so pretty excited to see what Cams was going for. Looks like Force of Nature also a option for Cams. We're going to leave it in Polish. Looks like a near identical list with the key difference being a Mahakam Ale for some Purify, some unlock value. This is a card I know Payable's playing a couple of in his list. Does make sense. Let's say you're like your Knight Errant gets locked. Not only are you unlocking it, you're also boosting it to help you achieve the Grice. So very similar looking list. I think the 4 provision cards are the only difference. Up next, Force of Nature as well. There's an Aguara in here, a Giant Toad, a Goliath. So a similar looking deck. Definitely looking like a popular option. No Heat Wave here for Cams. Instead going for like this Aguara and Toe Prince. Aguara, of course, can trigger your Thrive. It can be a lock like Dora Grey, but also that ability to unlock something like your Koshchi or your Cat. Looking also very solid too. Yeah, this is a video in one take. Guerrilla Tactics up next. Guerrilla Tactics being like one of the other main Square Tail decks, of course. You've got the Harmony scenario. You've got an Erendite in here as well, which is maybe just something that Cams is going to be using for the tournament. Lady the Lake as well. They're going to be able to tutor the Erendite and the Aneromancy as well. Then just a bunch of Harmony cards. This looks like a really interesting take on Harmony. I'm a big fan of Lady the Lake, Erendite, Anero combo. And again in the tournament setting, if you know you're going first with this deck, and therefore your Erendites can be even better, that makes a lot of sense. So this deck looks also very smooth. And finally, another Line Pockets deck with a Morale, Aguara again, very similar. And Alyssa in here as well. Alyssa is going to be to replay the Golden Necker. So this is a double Golden Necker deck. Of course, double Eventide Plunder, double Failed Experiment. Please nerf this card, CD Projekt. I hate it. I think it's so flipping annoying. I hate playing against this card. Anyway, I digress. All right, so that's the 2 players who made it through with similar lineups. So what we're now going to do, we're just going to scan and see if there's any other interesting leader abilities and interesting deck. Trusky, a good friend of mine, playing a very interesting looking deck. We're going to have to try this one out as well. It's an Imprisonment Renfrey deck with Triss Meteor Shower. We've got a Servant. What kind of deck is this, Renfrey's gang? We've got an Asir. Obviously, you could purify the Renfrey with a Pella and then play her twice. We do have to purify her now. Triss Meteor Shower and the back row boost all allied units by half their base power. You're going to be looking to be boosting cards like the Tortoise, like Renfrey's gang. Even Renfrey herself is not so bad. A very interesting looking deck by Trusky. Okay, moving on. Again, we're just going to be scanning. We see another Force of Nature deck. We can see some Onslaught. This is the only Onslaught deck we've seen so far. It is actually a Scenario deck, still using the Magic Compass, so lots of thinning in this one. I actually have not played any Skellige yet this season, so this is definitely a deck that I'm going to be interested in playing. Again, if there's any decks from this lineup, this tournament you'd like to see me play on the channel, do let me know. Lots of Pirates, looks kind of bog standard, but obviously very nice to see the Magic Compass and the new Scenario. You can just pick any card you want with that. Cool. There's another Onslaught deck from Revan, another Imprisonment deck from Puzzle Express. Let's take a look at this to see. I can't imagine it. Oh, it's the exact same deck as Trusky. Looks like those two prep together. We've got an Onslaught deck. My phone's pinging. Ignore. Okay, a Rain deck from Bart. Let's have a little look at the Rain deck. I can also see we've got a Blood Scent deck. Loving the variation. So it is a Golden Necker Rain deck from Bart. Couple Messengers of the Sea, of course. Got the old Megascopes, the Fisher King. Looking very similar to these Rain decks from previous seasons as well. Of course, Magic Compass also, if you're thinning, you can take a Fukusha with this for more rain. Skellige Storm as an actual card as well. Looks very solid and similar to decks we have seen in the past though. Let's look at Blood Scent because Vampires is something you're a big fan of. Is it going to be Renfrey? Probably. It is Renfrey, of course. Renfrey with... Oh, mate, stop pinging phone. I'm trying to do this in one take, guys. I'm muting my phone and we're carrying on. I'm not stopping. I'm carrying on. This is one take, fam, okay? Apologies. There's an Igni in this Vampire deck as well. Obviously, you're getting some Tool Punish in there and you're not able to play Heatwave. Obviously, the main idea with Vampires Renfrey is you take the Renfrey that's boost a card by its base power and +2 now. So you definitely want to play Rune Mage to make sure that you're finding that. You slam Regis and you slam your Renfrey leader ability, let's say, for like 1,000,000 points, because your Regis is, if your Regis is 16 base power, he's playing for 22 points, and then your Renfrey leader is playing for what, I think 18 points now, plus the blessing, and obviously plus her body as well. So no surprise to see Renfrey being the Vampires deck of choice. We're going to just keep scanning through. There's another Blood Scent deck from Poisound. Is it also Renfrey? It's got to be. It is Renfrey. Also going for an Igni, slightly different take on it though. No Operator in these decks, which I'm a little bit surprised by, to be honest. I think Operator plus Fleder is a little bit too good to ignore, but shows what I know. All right, and that looks like pretty much all the decks. We've got lots of line pockets, pretty much I think in every single, line pockets in every single deck and every single lineup. Definitely think that deck needs to get some serious nerfs, particularly Failed Experiment. I think that card is so toxic. I know if I mentioned that, I hate it. Lots of Knights, a little bit of Rain, a little bit of Guerrilla Tactics, a little bit of Elves. Looking like a pretty interesting tournament meta. Of course, there's going to be the top 64 next week as well, so we're going to get even more decks. Guys, if there's any decks from this lineup that you want me to try out on the channel, please let me know in the description. And if you enjoyed this video where I just round up some of the most interesting tournament decks, let me know, because I can do more of this. It's super easy, especially because I can do it in one take. Okay, it was 2 takes. I admit it was 2 takes. I failed before, but anyway. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hopefully more Gwent uploads coming soon and all of that stuff. Hope you guys are doing well. Make sure you check me out on Twitch, and if you've watched this far, please like the video and comment. It does help me out. Much love, and see you on the next one.